Now, with the release of this latest tranche of documents, I think he was more than that, and that he was probably not exclusive to the Israelis. I think he was what's called an intelligence peddler or an intelligence broker, but a more sophisticated one. What an intelligence peddler is normally is, let's say you are a Pakistani guy and you work in a restaurant, and two Al-Qaeda guys come into the restaurant, they have lunch, and you hear something. You go to the American embassy and you say, listen, I've got this bit of information. I want to talk to a CIA officer. So John comes downstairs and I say, well, what do you have? And you give me the information. Okay, sounds plausible. I'm going to give you a few $100s for your trouble. But then you go to the British embassy and do the same thing, and then the French embassy, and then the Russian embassy, and then the Chinese embassy. And you've just made 6 months worth of salary, right? That's an intelligence peddler. Epstein would have been far, far more sophisticated than that. And his intelligence is not coming from two Al-Qaeda guys having lunch. It's coming from Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and Alan Dershowitz and Prince Andrew and all of these other movers and shakers that he was constantly in touch with. Now, who would it have been for? Well, we now know from these documents that through his attorney, he was actively seeking an admission by the CIA that he was somehow associated with the CIA. And they did the same thing with the National Security Council. It doesn't look like they ever got a response.
They FOIA'd them when he went to jail.
Right.
Summer 2019. And this was what was interesting. He FOIA'd them for the dates between sometime in 2000 and 2014. Now, here's why this was interesting to me, John, because there's a bigger point I don't want to get lost, but a little tangent. I'm very open-minded on this now because I agree with you. I think we're seeing a lot more, and I think I saw Dave Smith tweet out something that would have seemed crazy a few weeks ago, and now I'm like, that's not crazy, where he said, I used to think Epstein worked for Mossad, now I wonder if Mossad worked for Epstein. I don't think I'm there. However, it does feel like there wasn't I used the word employee in my question. It does not feel like there was an employee relationship. That's fair?
I agree. And that's one of the things that I've changed in my own mind. Not an employee of Mossad. We know from these latest documents that he had some sort of association with MI5 and MI6, essentially the FBI and the CIA of the UK.
That's right.
We know that he made an approach to the German intelligence service. And we know that he tried hard to get a one-on-one meeting with Vladimir Putin. They went back and forth, and finally the Russians agreed that he could meet with Putin and 3 other people. And he said, no, it has to be just Putin. And the Russians said no. Why would he, what would he have to say to Vladimir Putin that is so sensitive that the head of the, SVR couldn't be in the room? He had to say it directly to Putin.